It's the most wonderful time of the year. Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas. We are live. Move the Chains podcast. How are we doing? Happy holidays. I'm fired up. About to go leave for Chicago. Go see my dad's side of the family. Mike Kesnick, all you guys. I can't wait to see you. Love you. Let's go. Last night, holy shit, that was a sleeper fest. But I'm going to get into that right now in a second. But how cool was that last night? Lambeau, under the lights. God, that's on my bucket list. I got to go. And I think in a couple years when Raiders go up to Green Bay, because every 4 years you play different conference, different opponents in the different divisions, I'm going, sign me up. Last night, to me, was two different stories. You had New Orleans and their stumble from the graces. They were 2-0, 91 points in 2 games, to a 7-game losing streak, kind of found some momentum, and then back to shit now. And then Green Bay, like they always do, they're just stable. They're well run. They got everything going. Small town, no meddling owner, no bullshit, just football, family, life. I love it. And the other thing that I found fascinating last night, and let me start with the Green Bay Packers, and I'll get to the Saints in a second. Green Bay has no owner. They don't meddle. They're kind of, pick and choose their spots. They draft and develop really well. I don't think I've ever seen a Green Bay quarterback have a bad offensive line in my lifetime. Aaron had some years where he got sacked 30, 40, 50 times, but that was more on Aaron hanging the ball too long. So I'm watching last night, and Green Bay did it again with this quarterback, Jordan Love. They hit 3 for 3. And I remember talking to my buddy Mike Kesnick, who I love, and we talked about this last summer, and he's a diehard Lions fan, and I asked him, who scares you? And he said the same thing, Green Bay. So right now, Green Bay is set. They have everything components-wise, coach, quarterback, run game, defense, going into the playoffs, and obviously you can see it. And I just am so amazed. And I saw this stat. 34-0 was the score last night. Coincidentally, 2007 was the last time they had a shootout. That's a fun fact for you. 34-0 against the Vikings. So, that's a great thing. And I believe this to be true. The Green Bay Packers, as long as they got Jordan Love, Matt LaFleur, and that staff, and that culture, will be in games. And they will make the playoffs. I mean, the stat last night, I saw a little clip this morning. 17 years, they've made the playoffs with Mike Murphy as the president. Outstanding. Great job. Way to go, Green Bay, for being a small market team. Chicago, you wish you were that. Okay? Where you're not meddling, you don't have crazy shit going on, you're stable, and you're consistent. Like the Ravens, like the Steelers, like the Chiefs right now. You want that in your thing. And here's the other thing. 37 playoff appearances. That's the most all time right now. Now, I don't know if that's true, but I can believe that number. So I just am amazed with Green Bay last night. Way to go. Hats off to them. They're going to the playoffs again. Maybe they're right on Aaron Rodgers, getting rid of him now. And looking at where Aaron Rodgers is at. He's irrelevant. He's 4-11, and he sucks. So, the division matters, and they're playing in the toughest one in football, and organization matters when it comes to these quarterbacks. Is it a coincidence that Sam Darnold's balling in Minnesota, well run compared to the Jets and Panthers that are tire fires? I don't think so. So, good for Green Bay. They make the playoffs again. 3 teams in the North going. I predicted that before the year started. If I'm looking at my notes here, I'm looking here, guys. Give me 1 second. Yep, okay, I did. I picked them second and Vikings third, but, flip-flop the two. We'll see what that happens. I did pick that for the year. But congrats to Green Bay. Playoffs. Awesome. Let's go. Woo! Fired up for Green Bay. And what a sight to see last night. Green Bay under the lights. So iconic, so nostalgic. Wrigley Field, Fenway, those kind of ballparks in football stadiums, just iconic to me. The Coliseum before it actually went down was one of my all-time favorites, and I believe that to be true. So let me flip on the side of that Saints last night. There was not a lot to get excited about in New Orleans last night. I will admit it. And I was thinking about this morning, and I was watching that game last night. I had a couple thoughts going on, and I heard this throughout my podcast. One of them I was listening to last week. I believe right now the Saints need to just start over. Start from scratch, because I said this for the year, and I'm looking through my notes here. I did pick them to finish third in the division behind Carolina. And I'm not wrong. I mean, they are just an old roster, beat up. Everybody's been hurt. Derek's been out, in, out. The quarterback position's been awful. I know Rattler looked okay last night, but he felt overwhelmed. The Saints just got a lot of missing parts. It's an older team, like I just mentioned. Your defense is getting older. You got some players I like, but it's just a long way to go. Is Darren Risney the guy? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. So, and I always found it fascinating with the Saints. They are in like this weird thing. The NFC South's always been weird to me because of the college football vibe down in the South, how big and how important it is. I always feel like the teams get kind of pushed away to the side. You think about the Saints, they have LSU in their backyard. You think about the Falcons, they got Georgia Bulldogs in their backyard. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they got Florida State in their backyard. Carolina Panthers got North Carolina and NC State in their backyard. So I've always felt like it's kind of an odd division, and it's never had back-to-back winners. Carolina had some years, they would win, and then Tampa Bay would have some, and then New Orleans, and then Atlanta. So it's always been a wacky division, kind of a bizarre one to me. But I do think the Saints have some players. Like, this is not again, it's going to be a kind of an job because you got so much salary cap issues. But it is a job that has some players and has some pieces to it I like. But you got to start over, I think. You got to rip it down to the studs, start over. You're decent at receiver, you're decent at tight end, you're decent at running back with Kamara. But you got to get better on the O-line, got to get better defense, getting some young, cheap players on defense. And this is the problem when you kind of have these salary cap issues and you keep pushing them down the road, And it is a shame that Sean Payton left you. I'm not disputing that at all. 1 second, 1 iota of that. I agree. 100%. It does not look right when you look at it from that perspective. But I do believe the Saints have some pieces in place that can make this work. Now, what team do they remind me of? I don't know. But to me, they're kind of in that weird mix of the NFC, like maybe Seattle, maybe not. I don't know. But it's going to be an interesting offseason for New Orleans. I just couldn't believe this didn't score any points last night. I mean, I'm just sitting there in my head going, got to do something. And Green Bay just, sat their guys the rest of the second half. Fuck it, why not, So we'll see what happens in that game. That was the only game that I had last night going on. Green Bay, congrats to them. Another season, another great run. Playoffs, excited, let's go. And it's just incredible that organization has been so good for so long and so stability. And I can't do enough. And I just am so excited to see what Green Bay is going to do in the playoffs because I think they have a shot. If they get in the tournament, we'll see. Because if they're playing the Rams or if they're playing one of these teams, because that's the matchup right now that I'm hearing about, I would see them beating the Rams because I think they have the components in a dome because I feel like their weapons are better in a dome. When you look at them compared to outside, they can obviously go toe-to-toe with Matt Stafford. That's going to be a great game in itself. Matt Stafford, Jordan Love, young gun, old gun, kind of that Kurt Warner, Aaron Rodgers kind of vibe early on in his career kind of game. So we'll see if Green Bay can actually win out in the West Coast in the playoffs. They've had some hard times with that. San Francisco, Arizona's for years. So we shall see. But I'm intrigued, and I'm just excited for Green Bay, and hats off to them. So that's all I wanted to do on here today. Give you guys a short little Christmas Eve edition. Move the Chains podcast. Hope you hit the like, subscribe, share button. Stay tuned throughout the week. I got more content coming. I know tomorrow's Christmas, but I'll give you guys my reactions tomorrow. Merry Christmas. Stay safe. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas. Talk to you guys soon. Love you.